Okay, we are live.
We're live, Mary Mitchell.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
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 Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We have two amazing guests that I'm going to let Dr. Keith introduce. But I'm Mary Mitchell Campbell, and I am the founder, executive director of A Step, Artists Striving to End Poverty, and I am also a Broadway music director. And this is our Wellness Wednesday moment, bringing the community together and talking about mental health. Dr. Keith.
This is Wellness Wednesday. Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Bell, coming to you from my holistic health clinic in Richmond, Virginia. Wellness Wednesday is where we bring creative artists and healing artists together for the well being of the community. And today I'm really excited to have two people that I admire because you are the epitome of our Wellness Wednesday. What I admire about you two is you've taken your creativity, you've taken your art, you've taken your craft to make movies that heal. And not only have they healed thousands of women, children, and families, they have healed an industry. They have healed a broken system that needed to be healed so that people who are marginalized get better care. They're the creatives behind the business of being born, which changed the birthing community. They are the creators of Weed the People, which changed legislation around medical marijuana. And they have a new film coming out soon called The Business of Birth Control. Please welcome everybody, Abby Epstein and Ricki Lake.
Yay. What an
Woo!
intro.
This is
Thank
very
you for
exciting.
having us. Wow, that makes me feel good about myself.
We forget how much we influence people, right?
Well, yeah, you said it so beautifully. Yeah, I definitely switched gears, from my earlier career, and I love what I do now. Abby and I mean, we pinch ourselves. I mean, it's hard, endless work, and it's really hard to make these films, and they're meaningful and they're important. And at the end of the day, I mean, that's what I wanted my legacy to be about, something that really did, like, make a difference to people. And I feel like we're doing that.
You're
We're
definitely doing that. And I have to say, I know Abby as a director in the theater world also. And then Ricki, you did Hairspray. So as a theater person, I just want to say thank
Oh,
you.
oh my goodness. Yeah. Do you know how Abby and I met? So
No.
Abby direct. Well, you talk, Abby. I'm talking too much
Well,
already.
that was actually going to be our first question. Abby,
Oh,
how did
really?
you meet?
How did you
How
guys
did,
meet?
how did we meet? So I was directing a little play off Broadway called The Vagina Monologues. And we, at the time, after Eve Ensler, the playwright, left, we had three actresses kind of rotate every 2 weeks. And Ricki came in and she was like one of my actresses, and it's just funny when I just directed so many women and amazing women in that play, but something about she and I from the beginning, we just had a really fabulous chemistry. And to me, she was that very rare bird who is a celebrity who has like none of the celebrity affect around them whatsoever. And was just the most like kind of real, genuine, big-hearted person. So we'd connected in that play. And then several years later, Ricki moved to LA. And then you pick up the story from there when I came to your house.
I mean, just, Abby and I stayed in touch. We both went through divorces around the same time. And she was coming to LA, and she just checked in. I said, "Oh my God, Ab, you need to come and check out my new digs," because I had basically upgraded from my apartment in New York to my like big house with a yard and a pool. And we reconnected, and it was at that time, it was post 9/11. And I was really, I was basically finishing my show. I was ending that chapter, and I was really wanting to make a project about, birth, and particularly my experiences. And so it really wasn't, and in my mind at that time, it wasn't a documentary necessarily. But she came over. I handed her my 9-hour birth of my second son at home. I gave her an Ina May Gaskin book, Spiritual Midwifery, and another book by Robbie Davis Floyd. You probably know it, Birth is an American Rite of Passage. And I was like, "What do you think?" And she had directed the Eve Ensler documentary, and she's like, "I think it's a doc." And I was like, "All right." And we just went on this 3.5-year journey of, I mean, I think Abby had much more of a vision than, she's a visionary. I sort of have the experience and the idea and the curiosity, and it became this sort of seminal film that it was, so serendipitous, the way things happened with Abby and her pregnancy. It balanced the film, and it just has been a real game changer for birth. And yeah, so that's the story of the making,
The
the
story of
birth
the
of the
making.
birth.
So, Ricki, I've heard you say in the past, and I hope I'm not speaking wrong, that you left. So, we've been dealing a lot with trauma in these episodes because we're in a traumatic event right now. That you left New York because of a traumatic event in 9/11. Is that true? Can you talk
Well,
about
I
that?
not only left New York, I left my job, I left New York, and I left my marriage, my 10-year marriage. Yeah, I watched 9/11 firsthand from my apartment in the West Village. Saw the plane as it flew down the Hudson, the second plane. And I was a nursing mother. I had a newborn at the time and a 4-year-old. And it was, I think, the combination, I've suffered a lot of trauma in my life. And I think so much of what has made me has been from those experiences and getting myself through them. And 9/11, though it was, and I had to go back to work. That was like the other thing. It's like, okay, I'm this lactating mom, which, my hormones were raging. All I wanted to do was feel safe and protecting of my children. But I remember having to go back 2 days later and shooting some bullshit. Can I say that on your podcast?
Yes.
Topic of like my baby daddy thinks I'm a hoochie mama and I'm gonna tell him. I mean, it was like some insipid, ridiculous thing. And it was in that moment of like, what the hell am I doing with my life? This feels like not, it just seemed ridiculous. So that's where I shifted gears and kind of looked at where I can make a difference. What do I believe in? What do I stand for? And it was, that became, my new career of making documentaries. And so yeah, it was traumatizing, and it was also a gift.
Right.
Which is this moment as well, right? Like I think a lot of people are also kind of reevaluating their lives during this trauma and trying to figure out what they're passionate about.
Yeah,
And
well, I mean, the gift right now is harder for me to find right now. I'm definitely struggling. I know how lucky I am, so I don't like to be sounding like I'm complaining. I have so much more than most people, and I'm healthy, and my children are healthy, and and this isolation is and this and the divisiveness and the hostility that you just driving in your car going to the market you feel, and you like everyone's anxiety and heightened like just fear and of the unknown, and it is palpable, and it is challenging, to say the least, on a daily basis for me.
well, and that's why I brought the 9/11 event up, because you used a trauma at that point to actually change your life and be creative, and your creativity changed the world. You and Abby. Abby, what was it like to help with the documentary, The Business of Being Born, that literally changed birthing in America? I mean, did you expect that?
Oh God, no. I mean, I can't even tell you, like, while we were making the film, our expectations were low. Like, you like people would be like, "Oh, you're making a documentary with Ricki Lake? That's so cool. What's it about?" I'd be like, "Midwifery," and they'd be like, "Huh? Like witchcraft?"
Right.
Like, oh, that woman who comes with like a rag and like a voodoo doll and like deliver. I mean, it was not a sexy topic, not sexy. And we just, but I think what was interesting about it was that we came at it, like Ricki started to say, from such different perspectives. Like when we started the movie, Ricki had had this really life-changing event, right? Of kind of having these two births and sort of, deciding in between them to go a different path on the second birth, and like taking control and self-advocating in a way that really changed who she is forever. And that's, I think what a seminal experience, becoming a parent can be. And I don't want to say that just for people who physically give birth. I want to say that for anybody who, becomes a parent, adoptive or surrogate or whatever, but it is really life changing. And a lot of women experience it in quite a traumatic way, as you know, Keith. So I think that, when we were And I came at it as this person who had never been pregnant, was just sort of like learning all of this from Ricki, but kind of skeptical, like kind of like, why did my friend really have her baby in her bathtub? I don't
Right.
like, okay, and so I felt like, honestly, I think maybe Ricki, if you'd agree, I think maybe until the premiere at Tribeca Film Festival, when that whole audience of people got to its feet, and when Ina May Gaskin, who's like the godmother of midwifery, said to us, "This is the best film on birth that has ever been made," like that's when it kind of hit us. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's very similar to theater in some ways. You work in a bubble, you work in a vacuum. You're like, is this funny? Is this interesting? I don't know. Until you put it up in front of an audience, you just don't know. And
Right.
so, we did not expect the film to have the kind of continuing impact that it did. And I think, sadly, had we expected it, we would have maybe made a different business deal. we might have made a dime on the film in 12 years. We haven't even broken even. I mean,
It's become your calling.
we just, sold it out from
The
under.
world.
Exactly. We did a mitzvah.
We did a mitzvah, a big mitzvah.
Yeah.
Very big.
Yeah.
Amazing. You guys have also gone into other. Well, you have one coming up, but you've done more together since that one.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did sequels on the business.
Yeah, we did more business important sequels where, we go more in depth in different areas of birth, which is great, because people that do get the birth bug, which I was one of those people, it's just fascinating. It's just, yes. And then we also made We the People, which is about, it's shifting gears, but this was my late husband's sort of his legacy, but his passion was cannabis and cannabis as medicine. And we chose to focus on children with pediatric cancers. And that's also another film that just opened people's eyes and re-educated them about, this plant and what it can do. And it's on Netflix.
And it changed laws. It changed laws.
It did.
Yeah, it did. We went to, where was it? Tulsa? Was that where we went?
We went to DC. We went to Oklahoma. We gave the film to states before they had their vote on their medical marijuana referendums. So a lot of states felt that movie actually turned the vote. And that was also a very organic movie. Like, we had no plans to make a pot movie ever. It was not on our radar. And then literally one day Ricki was like, I knew she was helping this little girl. And then she was like, "Oh, I have this trip planned and I'm taking this little girl and we're flying up to Mendocino and we're going to meet this, weed physician." And I was like, whoa, we're bringing cameras. This sounds like something, it sounds like a journey, So it also happened very organically, just out of something that was going on with Ricki and Christian's life at the time, and trying to help, one child. And then our new film, The Business of Birth Control, I would say, that it's a very controversial topic. And we had read a book called Sweetening the Pill that was sent to us by a writer named Holly Griggs Ball. And I think upon reading that book, we sort of felt, this is almost like the next chapter of the business of being born in a certain way. In a way, we felt like this is something that so many women, I would say cisgender women, trans women, anybody with a uterus is having to deal at some point in their life with birth control. A lot of times it has nothing to do with preventing pregnancy. About half the time it's about period problems, fibroids, acne. It has become a panacea for every teenage health problem, endometriosis, PCOS. We could go on and on and on, prescribe the pill, prescribe the pill, prescribe the pill, so you have that, plus you have all the women using it for, let's say, contraception. So it's a really big issue that I think has, people have been afraid to talk about it because it's under attack, in Washington. And so you feel like if you start to criticize or talk about maybe some of the health downsides, maybe you're feeding into the right, and they're gonna, there is worry about that. So it's a very controversial topic. So this we decided to take on.
Mhm.
And
Why
it's
not?
Because you're
7
brave like that.
years. It's been 7 years of work and effort. And what I know, because I was with you when you decided to take this on, I don't even think you realized how many people out there in the world that this has been a part of their life that you have brought together. You have brought together these incredible women and experts who know everything about hormonal contraceptives and hormones and the dangers and the side effects, and you've brought this incredible community together. Well, now it's time to launch your film. How are you going to do that in isolation? What's the plan?
How does that work?
Uh, yeah, you tell us. We're figuring that out. We're planning to do a summit in September. I believe that on World Contraception Day, September 26th, to bring together all of these experts that have so much knowledge and so much to share, and to, bring this community, because, Business of Being Born was very much a grassroots effort, before it came out, and we built this momentum, which happened also very organically, and we didn't really know what we were doing. But I think now we know more, and people are, homebound and wanting content. And I do think that this subject matter, I mean, every time we play it for people, we've played it for just a handful of audiences and just home movie theaters. Gloria Steinem watched it, she loved it, and she couldn't believe how much she learned. It's really, really important information that people don't have access to. And so I don't know, we are still trying to figure out the best way to go about releasing this.
I mean, it's difficult. Like, we applied to Telluride Film Festival, they just canceled their festival. We applied to New York Film Festival, we'll apply to Sundance. Everybody seems to be doing kind of a pared down version. But like I was saying before about, seeing your film in front of an audience or your show, we're not getting that. And so that's really difficult as filmmakers, because I feel like if we could just sit in a theater and let the
Right.
film play, we'd be able to see things quickly about pacing and timing and laughs. And we are never going to get that,
Right.
So I say we're never going to get that, but I also feel like I know that this film is evergreen. This isn't a trendy film. That this is like The Business of Being Born. There are no contraceptives in the pharmaceutical pipeline. There is no innovation in this field. This is something that people will be struggling with for a long time. So, it might take us a year and a half before we're actually in a theater with people, seeing the film, having a live conversation, and that's okay. In the meantime, like Ricki was saying, I think we're just trying to figure out how can we, create word of mouth online and, launch this remotely, digitally, in like the most impactful way.
Right.
Has it felt good to have something to be working on in this pandemic, or has it felt just stressful to try and like solve it?
I mean, Abby's been working her ass off. She's got two, boys, one a pre-adolescent and an adolescent. I don't know how she does it, but yeah, there has been. I mean, doing these like Instagram live talks with a lot of these women that are a part of the film have been really enlightening and satisfying. Because it feels like just we're building more content. We launched a Patreon account or channel, and because we're still trying to raise money to finish this film, we're tapped out. We have like another 50 to 75,000 to raise, and we are at a loss because who's donating money right now, to anything. And so it's challenging, but we're getting there. We have a finished film. Basically, we have like it's great. It's really powerful. It's really important. I mean, it's along the same lines of what we've already been doing, and I think we built such credibility with our work that I think the audience will be hungry for this topic.
I think so too. And I think also like, I think when you're working on anything during the pandemic and during this kind of, racial justice reckoning moment, it can feel really up and down. Like some days it just feels like depressing, like you're just so distracted by the world and you're like, what am I working on? And will anyone give a shit about this? Some days it feels like you have a reason to, be, because you're having these like amazing conversations like we're having with you guys. One of the things that I think has really helped us is, Ricki had mentioned some Instagram lives, for instance. So, in the movie, In the Business of Birth Control, we really lean in to the anti-Black and anti-people of color roots of birth control. And we really lean in heavily to how the development of these drugs and the weaponizing of these drugs have impacted communities of color. So that's felt really good that, we really look at that in the film. And again, it is controversial because, people might not want to hear about Planned Parenthood's connection to eugenics, but this is that moment. We have to shine the light. We have to shine the light on where things were wrong. And it's wrong, we need transparency. And I think that we can support Planned Parenthood, and we can also have some, truth and reckoning.
Some open and honest.
Yes.
Well, that's what the whole film is about. You talk a lot about body literacy. Like if you do not have the information, if you're not given the truth about how hormones work or how your body works, you can't make an informed decision.
Right.
I know you've done a lot of work around that, but what I want people to know is that on your Patreon, that's how you say it, right? Patreon site.
Yeah.
All of these amazing activists and women are on that site teaching that people have access to if they join, and you all are going to do a sneak peek of the film for the members of the site, and that's coming up. Can you give information about that so people can sign on and join?
Yeah. We just sent out our invite. So for the backers of our Kickstarter campaign, which is many years ago now, and all our subscribers on our Patreon site is called The Business Of. So we are doing kind of I think it's July 26th, right, Ricki? We're doing
it's July 26th.
Yeah.
Let me write that down. Yeah, I forgot. I did. Yes, it is July 26th. Right,
Yeah.
Sunday.
We're
Yes,
doing
That's soon.
Yeah, it's soon. So we're doing a sneak peek where people will be able to watch the rough cut with us on Zoom and give us, some feedback, and we'll have a really robust conversation afterward. And so, this is really as a thank you to the Kickstarter backers who've supported us many years ago and have been like, where's this film? Which the film took a long time because we were doing Weed the People like in the middle. So, sort of took a little longer than usual. And people who sign up to our Patreon will also get an invitation.
Well, it's a good thing that the film did take a long time because a lot of stuff happened later.
Yeah.
If you had finished this film at a shorter time, you would have missed so much that has come out because there was no research on oral contraceptives until recently. And so it's a good thing.
It all happens divinely, I think. It's just, yeah,
No, I agree. And I think even the fact that, because I have to be honest with you, I think if the film was coming out now and didn't talk about, the fact that Black women were being sterilized in the 1950s and didn't talk about, what was happening, I would almost feel like I couldn't release this film in this point. I really would. I would feel just like, oh, this is just a film for, middle-class white women or whatever. Like, I think that, there's a lot of things around the timing and around the way we chose certain content. But I totally agree with you, Keith. And I think even 2 years ago, I don't know if people were like ready for this conversation, you know, but I think the Me Too movement, just the landscape of some of the Women's March, Trump, you know, we have
Bless you.
this landscape.
Right.
Yes. And how are you guys I mean, it sounds like you're juggling a lot with all of this. How are you dealing with self-care in the middle of all of this?
I exercise.
Ricki has her sweat bag.
I'm telling you, because I'm also going through a breakup, you know, and so I'm in it right now. I'm doing a lot better than I was, but I am active. I'm physically active every single day. So I bought a Peloton. The two things I did for myself was I shaved my head when I was dealing with this hair loss, because if I hadn't, I would have had those, it would have been a nightmare if I didn't. So that, thank God I did that. And I bought a Peloton the beginning of January. And so I get on that bike every single day. I move my body, and I bought this infrared sauna blanket that I've turned everyone on to. It's amazing. And you just lie in it. You watch Netflix for an hour and you
Wait,
like
tell me more.
release. Oh, well, they have these places in LA and I think in New York too, where you go and they wrap you up in an infrared blanket and you heat your body temperature up and you sweat and you release these toxins, you burn calories. And I'm into it. Like, it's working and my body is like tightening and I feel better. I feel stronger. I feel my skin. Dude, you guys,
We're getting one of these.
Like,
Well,
I'm telling you.
We're all getting one of these. Your skin looks amazing.
Next
Thank
week, we're all
you.
going to be wrapped up in these blankets while we do
Right,
wellness.
it's right over there. It is right there. Along with my jump rope. And so that is what I do. Exercises really help my mindset. You know, it doesn't fix it. I mean, I think I'm dealing with some low-lying depression. I am. I think we all are. You know, I was always so optimistic. I lived with my husband who was mentally ill and always depressed. Keith, you met Christian, yes?
No, I met him. I met you when he was going through an episode.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I think you guys came over. You and Josh,
Yeah.
I remember. Okay. Yeah, but so I've lived with someone who had severe depression, but I didn't know what that felt like until he died, and then I went through that. I wouldn't say I'm in that state now, but it is depressing, the state of our world and the suffering that's going on and the unknown. I mean, I have two children, two boys. One's 23, one's 19. The 19-year-old is not going. I'm not sending him back to college next semester. I was not willing for him to be virtually, he's a visual artist. I can't have him in his room getting high and playing video games for his semester next semester. There's no way. So I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know. We're in a state of limbo, right now. And again, it's like first world problems. I mean, we're healthy. We have a roof over our heads. I don't have to worry about my rent, but what does the future look like for our children? It is really, really scary. And
But I also think like, I felt like in the beginning of the pandemic, like whenever Ricki and I would talk, we'd be like, thank God for like Gil Garcetti and thank God for Cuomo. Like, we had our people, you know what I mean? Like we felt like we were in sort of sane places in the midst of insanity, right? We felt like, being in New York and LA, I mean, LA's since gotten, as you know, really, really, really bad. New York City is still doing okay. But I still feel like, some of what we do for self-care is really like talking to each other a lot, you know what I mean? And I think that that's something like, Ricki has like a group she does like Zoom calls with like really funny like people, and like I think we talk more to everyone in our lives, you know what I mean? Our friends, our family. I feel like, when's the last time you used to have phone calls? We never had phone calls, right? And
Right.
so I don't know. I think some of the self-care, if you don't have a lot of time or resources right now, as most people, don't. I think a lot of it is just really taking those kind of like moments to indulge more in our like positive relationships in our life. You know what I mean? And we
Right.
not take them for granted. And I kind of love that, even with, I love that I always know like where Ricki is, like she's never like busy. It's never like, oh, I don't know if I can reach her. She's on a plane here, a plane there. I'm like, she's there. Like, you know, we're just
She's not there. She's on her Peloton.
right. Like, I don't know. Some of that I think is comforting, that like we're all kind of in this, you know, it's been a very leveling experience to a certain extent. I think no matter how much money you have or how privileged your life is, it's still leveling, you know, and I think it's very daunting. And I think that women, I know that women, especially women who have children, have been hit the hardest. And the mental health of the women that I know and the women that Ricky's know is not good. And I can't tell you how many people have started antidepressants. I know men too. But, you know, I think women we're like trying to hold up the world. It's like, you know, and it's you really pull back the curtain on how unfair a lot of the division of labor is within households. And I think women are taking on a lot during this, a lot, you know, and especially our age, me and Ricki, I don't know, what are we, Gen X? It's like, because we have our parents and our kids aging. So like we have our parents we have to take care of and our kids, you know?
Right.
Yeah. It's a lot.
And this is new, Ricki. You just posted this week. You're having to take care of family members.
I've always been taking care of family members.
Right, but you were talking about your dad.
My dad, yeah, and thank God his wife did the day-to-day care, but he's now in a home, and it's not good. It's not good. And I don't know what the future holds for him and for her. And you know, they live about an hour and a half away. I mean, it's just on top of everything else, the timing of everything seems to just be extra hard, you know. But you know, we'll get through this. We will.
And I think also like that's the part of it too, is like, you know, we're talking before about it's hard to swallow the leadership piece of this, you know. And you know, I think we've seen, again, I'm going to go back to women, because I think we've seen women leaders all around the world fucking rise and shine in this.
Oh yeah.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Oh my God.
Iceland.
And, you know, so the leadership, the lack of leadership, you know, around this, and just the frustration, the lack of respect. I mean, in a sense, I felt like, you know, the protests were amazing to me in the fact that nobody was going to let a virus like stop that energy, you know. And I thought the protests that I saw in New York were like so peaceful, and everybody was wearing masks, and they looked, you know, were very safe, and they had family ones, and you know, but I mean, that I thought was like inspiring. So I think there's a mixed bag, right? Of like, we see this America, we see this country that we can feel proud of, right? You see white people finally standing with Black people, finally in the streets, finally, you know, even Black people are like, oh my God, I've never seen so many white people, you know, marching for, like, that's inspiring. Like, that's, I feel like, who we are really as a country in our heart. But then we have this other layer that it's really hard to take, you know, the leadership piece of it. It's, you know, that you have somebody holding rallies with no masks in, you know, places that are just spiking out of control. It's like, what in the world, you know, how can anybody?
The mask debate makes me crazy. It makes me, it just, and practitioners like people that I respect are just, you know, the mask conspiracy.
Well, it's like now it's become an anti-vax, anti-mask. It's all like lumped into one thing now, right?
Well, is any of this inspiring you to take this and do another project? Have you thought about that? No. You're like, no.
He's like, no.
Are you done with projects?
Oh, my good friend Keegan was like wanting to like run our ear, you know, to talk our ear off about some idea he has, and I was like,
you're like, no,
spare us, you know. I don't know. We do have aspirations of doing, you know, stuff on menopause or fertility, Keith, you know, but you know, I don't know. Like, we have to really, really brainstorm about how to get this next film out. And and then take it from there. I feel like baby steps right now.
Baby steps. I think
Uh-oh.
what?
We have somebody ringing our doorbell.
Hi, Abby Epstein and Ricki Lake.
Hi.
I'm the Duchess of Broadway, or at least that's what my friends call me. My name's Josh Lehman. It's like lemon with an A. What's up?
Oh, hi. How are you, Josh?
I'm so good. I'm such fans of both of yours. First of all, Abby, I was the biggest rent head in the world.
I
Seriously.
think you'd have competition with me. I was also a rent head.
Yeah, but you could afford tickets at the time. I had to sleep out on the street. And my parents were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I want to be poor and sexy." And like, because when you're poor, you're really sexy. And like, that was my journey. And Ricki Lake, you've been my hero for forever. You're really rad.
Thank you.
How's everybody doing? I know the world is great.
How did you break in here, Josh?
You know how I broke
You
in
just
here.
have magical powers. You're like that person. Was it Pee-wee's Playhouse?
I know, I'm adopted. I'm special.
No, you're the doorbell on my old show, coming in with the DNA results.
Yeah, that's right. I got the DNA results.
Let's see who's the baby daddy.
Oh my gosh, I wish. Actually, because I'm adopted, I probably could have come on.
You could have. We did plenty of those shows.
I know, but you'd be so like, it would be so disappointing though. You'd be like, "Oh, you're the father? Oh my God, Josh, are you okay?" But so I have some really fun lightning round questions because that's something that we do here on Wellness Wednesdays.
Okay.
For you, Miss Ricki Lake. Okay, so what is your favorite thing to do for self-care?
Oh, I exercise. I mean, it's not my favorite thing, but it's the thing I'm doing. I exercise every day on my Peloton, and then I was telling them about my sweat bag, my infrared sauna bag. I have an
sweat bag.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch. Yeah.
Okay, work. All right, I'm gonna take your word for that. What do you love to do the first thing in the morning?
Oh gosh, well, it used to be have sex. But that's not happening right now. I take my dog out to the water. I live on the water here.
Good for you. I'd say same, but I've just gotten lazier as I've gotten older. I'm like, you want to do what? Anyway, what's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Yes, mine too. We're destined. I'm a Capricorn. Anyway, I thought that. Beach or mountains?
Beach or mountains? Both. I live in LA. I get to have the mountains and the beach.
Yeah, I grew up in San Diego, so I feel you. Where do you think of as home?
Where my dog is.
Oh my gosh, I feel that way about my cats.
Notice
so now
I
you
didn't
have
say it
a
about
home
my
in my
kids.
heart.
I didn't say it about my children. It's just my dog.
That's okay. You don't need to say it about your children. You know, you just don't. I love my parents, I do, but no. Family is like fish. They're good for a sitting. After that, you're at risk.
Truth.
You know? How do you deal with being angry?
Oh God, I have lately exercised.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Exercise just makes me angrier, but that's okay.
I know it can, but I'm in a mindset right now, and I do find myself having a lot of anxiety and even some rage, and so yeah, working it out.
Okay. What
Drinking drinking also works a little bit.
Oh my God! Now we're talking. We could be roommates. What sound do you love?
What sound?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love hearing birds, nature.
Yes.
I was FaceTiming with my mom. I live in Queens, and she was like, "I hear birds." And I was like, "Yeah, Mom, there's birds. Why do I hear birds?" And I was like, "Because they haven't gone extinct yet, Mother." Like, come on. Anyway, now, if you were a spice, what spice would you be?
Oh, why don't we say like cayenne pepper?
All right, Spice. Now, this one is both for Abby and Ricki. Okay. Now, when the three of us get together and have not a slumber party, because I like to go home at the end of the night, but like we watch a bunch of movies and eat cereal because we're feeling naughty. What two cereals would you combine?
Oh gosh, I don't eat cereal. I ate cereal a long time ago. I used to like Chex Mix because Chex because they like when they squish in your mouth the milk.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Okay. I'd say that, but I'm not I don't like the sugar cereals. What about Abby? Do you eat cereal?
Oh, well, we just went to Costco yesterday and my kids got the triple box that it has Cocoa Krispies, Fruit Loops, and Apple Jacks. Like
Whoa.
big Costco. So I'd do like a Cocoa Crispy Cocoa Puffs mix.
Okay. See, I'm boring. I just would have done Cheerios and grape nuts, but I'm a grandma like that. Anyway, that's all I have for you two. But
That's lightning round.
I'm obsessed that this is like an early Hanukkah gift.
Oh,
So thank
I
you
can't wait to
for
see I can't wait to see your new movie.
yeah.
So we can
Watch
see it if we become a Patreon. Is that right?
Yes, join Patreon. It's like as little as like $2 a month or something. It's
But don't join at that level. Join at a higher level.
what's the Patreon site so I can go to it right now?
The Business of on Patreon.
Now, is it
Okay.
spelled the B-I-Z of, or is it the business spelled out of?
business. BUS.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Well, I personally want to say how inspiring it is to see two badass women making a difference using your art in this like really powerful way of like informing people about things that they don't know about and helping them take ownership of their lives and their bodies. It's really, really beautiful.
Thank
Yes,
you
it
so
is.
much.
Mary Mitchell.
Oh, this is so fun. This was like the highlight of my day, you guys.
Oh, dear. Get on your Peloton, woman.
I already did it today.
And Josh, I think I found you that rich husband you were looking for. So,
Oh yeah?
so you're going to have to sneak back in so you can meet him one day on one of these.
Okay, I'm
But-
down. I'm not
Yeah.
busy. I'm just going to your Patreon right now. I'm signing up.
Yes.
Yay, yay.
And get a sneak peek on the 26th of July. I'm going to be there too. I'm signing up. I'm so excited. Mary Mitchell, sign up. Thank you,
Yep.
Mary Mitchell. Thank you, Artists Striving
Thank
to
you.
End Poverty.
Yes.
Josh, for
Thank you for the-
jumping in. Ricki Lake, Abby Epstein, you know I
Yes.
love you. We're going to be back next week.
We love you,
Next-
Dr. Keith.
Uh,
All right.
so,
Thanks,
bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Thanks, guys.